Isaiah 52, let Zion rejoice. Awake, awake, and put on your strength, O Zion. Put on your beautiful garments, O Jerusalem, the holy city. For the uncircumcised and the unclean shall enter you no more. Shake yourself from the dust. Rise up, O captive Jerusalem. Loose the bonds from your neck, O captive daughter Zion. For thus says the Almighty God, you were sold for nothing, and you shall be redeemed without money. For thus says the Almighty God, long ago my people went down to Egypt to reside there as aliens. The Assyrians too had oppressed them without cause. Now therefore, what am I doing here, says the Almighty God? Long ago, my people went down into Egypt to reside there as aliens. The Assyrians too had oppressed them without cause. Now, therefore, what am I doing, says the Almighty God? See that my people are taken away without cause. Their rulers howl, says the Almighty God, and continually all day long, my name is despised. Therefore, my people shall know my name. Therefore, on that day, they shall know that it is I who speak. Here am I. How beautiful upon the mountains are the feet of the messenger who announces peace, who brings good news, who announces salvation, who says to Zion, your God reigns. Listen, your sentinels lift up their voices. Together they sing for joy, for in plain sight they see the return of the Almighty God to Zion. Break forth together and to sing it, you ruins of Jerusalem, for the Almighty God has comforted his people. He has redeemed Jerusalem. The Almighty God has bared his holy arm before the eyes of all the nations, and all the ends of the earth shall see the salvation of our God. Depart, depart, go out from there. Touch no unclean thing. Go out from the midst of it. Purify yourselves, you who carry the vessels of the Almighty God. For you shall not go out in haste, and you shall not go in flight. For the Almighty God will go before you, and the God of Israel will be your rear guard. The suffering servant. See, my servant shall prosper. He shall be exalted and lifted up, and shall be very high. Just as there were many who were astonished at him, so marred was his appearance beyond human semblance, and his form beyond that of mortals. So he shall startle many nations. Kings shall shut their mouths because of him. For that which had not been told them they shall see, and that which they had not heard they shall contemplate. Who has believed what we have heard, and to whom has the arm of the Almighty God been revealed? For he grew up before him like a young plant, and like a root out of dry ground. He had no form or majesty that we should look at him, nothing in his appearance that we should desire him. He was despised and rejected by others, a man of suffering and acquainted with infirmity, and as one from whom others hide their faces. He was despised, and we held him of no account. Surely he has borne our infirmities and carried our diseases, yet we accounted him stricken, struck down by God, and afflicted. But he was wounded for our transgressions, crushed for our iniquities. Upon him was the punishment that made us whole, and by his bruises we are healed. All we like sheep have gone astray. We have all turned our own way, and the Almighty God has laid upon him the iniquity of us all. He was oppressed and he was afflicted, yet he did not open his mouth. Like a lamb that is led to the slaughterer, like a sheep that before its shearers is silent, so he did not open his mouth. By a perversion of justice he was taken away. Who can have imagined his future? For he was cut out from the land of the living, stricken for the transgressions of my people. They made his grave with the wicked, of his tomb with the rich. Although he had done no violence, and there was no deceit in his mouth, yet it was the will of the Almighty God to crush him with pain. And when you make his life an offering for sin, for he shall see his offspring and shall prolong his days through him, and the will of the Almighty God shall prosper. Out of his anguish he shall see light, and he shall find satisfaction through his knowledge. The righteous one, my servant, shall make many righteous, and he shall bear their iniquities. Therefore I will allot him a portion with the great, And he shall divide the spoil with the strong, because he poured out himself to death, and was numbered with the transgressors, yet he bore the sin of many and made intercessions for the transgressors. Isaiah 54. The eternal covenant of peace. Sing, O barren one who did not bear. Burst into song and shout, you who have not been in labor. For the children of the desolate woman will be more than the children of her that is married, says the Almighty God. Enlarge the sight of your tent, and let the curtains of your habitation be stretched out. Do not hold back, lengthen your cords and strengthen your stakes, for you will spread out to the right and to the left. And your descendants will possess the nations and will settle the desolate towns. Do not fear, for you will not be